Hello, it's Jason here, and this is the Harbinger. The Harbinger. 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 I don't know how to say it really. However it is, it's a book by Jonathan Cahn. Maybe you saw the print version of this, like the big normal book you can buy. I'm not sure exactly when it came out. The original version was just a book you could buy. Let's see. I don't have the actual hard copy book of it. I have it on my trusty little Kindle here. This kind of launched Jonathan Cahn's career as like a Christian author. I'm sure the first when people read this, and especially as Americans, you read something that's about 9/11, and we're all about it, you know. Especially if you remember there, or if you were there, or you remember it. You're old enough to remember what happened. This book is about how 9/11 and the events afterwards fulfilled this prophecy that kind of was about Israel in the back in the day, but it has like a double purpose upon it. You know, Israel's special, America's special. Israel is founded on godly principles. America's founded on godly principles. As long as we stick with those, we'll be fine. But at some point, it's like Israel, America backslid from that, went and did her own thing. And so now there's like judgment coming our way. So this prophecy out of Isaiah 9 apparently is duplicated here in the United States, modern day, starting with, September 11th and the years following. Our leaders, our political leaders, our financial leaders went lockstep with this prophecy, even quoting Isaiah 9 at some times, you know, with more of a prideful resolve rather than a repentance. So that's kind of what it's about. It's kind of a trip, all right? So if you've never read The Harbinger before, he does it in prose form. So the book is in prose form, so it works good as a comic because you just kind of translate it. But it's not like you open it up and say, here's chapter 1 on this, chapter 1's on this, all the scripture quotes, etc. But it starts off as kind of like a story. The independent research study guy who's trying to pitch a book or something to a woman who's like a producer, book publisher, or something like that. So the story goes, this guy named Nuriel receives, the story starts off in Anne's office. Anne is the publisher, I believe, and he's trying to get a book written, and he starts telling the story about this guy that he ran into. He got this seal in the mail, and so he didn't know what the seal was all about. He started contemplating it, and then one day he goes and he sits on this park bench, and this dark, mysterious guy in a trench coat and a cool beard like this, super macho, manly beard. See that guy? Mm-hmm. He comes up and starts talking to him about the prophecy, what this the seal is all about. So throughout the course of the story here, he gets like 9 seals total, I believe, that come to him, and each one is a seal that represents a harbinger, whatever, one of those things, pronouncing judgment, I guess, upon the United States because of our backslidden nature. Okay, so it's pretty interesting. Actually, had talked about some of the stuff in church the other day, and then I got this in the mail, and I was like, okay, well, this kind of goes along with what I've been preaching on and teaching on, so to a certain extent. So anyways, so it starts off here. This is the entire cast. That's everything. I just wanted to say right off the bat, artist point of view, this is the coolest picture in the whole entire book, which is the cover, right? There's nothing else that artistically looks like this. This is well colored. You got a pretty good gradient color here. You had the kind of the shadowy figure in the front with that little color splash in front of it to give a nice outline. The buildings are also like they're kind of like green, yellow kind of color. The back is just deep blue. giving a little bit of contrast. It's like baby, not baby, but like real slight, minuscule yellow on the buildings to kind of punch them out as kind of warm colors versus cold colors. I don't know. So this is like the coolest shot in the whole book, right? I don't think there's any on the back cover. Okay, no. So anyways, but the most of the artwork, if you look through this, is like pretty basic, but I will say consistent. It's like me, I feel like my art's always developing. I'm improving as an artist, and so I can draw page 1 and page 10 are going to look different, like different people drawing them. I do a lot of reading and viewing, so my artwork is informed by different things all the time. Movie I watch, or some new comic I got, some digital comic or something I saw, a piece of artwork, piece of concept artwork for a movie or something that I've seen. It informs my style, and so the next time I draw, it could be something totally different. It could be like cartoony style, it could be realistic rendering, it could be different kinds of things going on. I just don't know. But this guy, at least, cover to cover, it's consistent. We have a lot of building kind of drawings. When we talk, the subject matter is government. We have governmental buildings and different things like this, and large edifices like this. Some of this stuff, I bet you it's light boxed or traced. I'm not exactly how the artist did it. That's up on him. However he wants to do it, I don't care. You take the picture, you can trace it. I don't care. There's things like this. Shows buildings in the background. There's pictures of trees in there. Pretty well done. Very well done. Other than that, since there's only 3 characters and only really 3 faces you had to be an expert on, I think that informs it as well. But I can just see myself getting carried away, or even bored just drawing the same thing over. Does she have a mustache? Oh, that's her mouth. It's an overshot of her mouth. So there's this guy here, and obviously he's talking about 9/11, what happened, comparing it to the event in Israel. So I wonder who's supposed to be the guy in the black trench coat with the beard. Okay. Anyways, so here's how it goes. It starts off here. This is Anne. This is Nuriel. This is the prophet. And Nuriel's pitching this book to her, and he's telling his experience about meeting this guy in the park. He's all cryptic and mysterious. He's like, he disappears like Batman and stuff, leaving cryptic clues as they go along. Anyway, we talked about these. He said, "Where'd you get this seal from and stuff?" Let me tell you what it's all about. He starts getting him clues. It starts talking about what the Harbingers could be, the height of the kingdom of Israel before they got carried away by the Syrians, and they were well protected. There's this wall. The first Harbinger represents the breach in the wall. Okay, just like Israel had the law, we had Christianity. Israel went against the law, replaced God with foreign idols and foreign worship, and he compares that to our worship of things like abortion and false religions and different things. So we're in the same spiritual state that ancient Israel was, as in we're rejecting our roots, and so this is bringing judgment on us. And so what happens was the first Harbinger, he says, was the breach. Okay, so the breach is this breach in the wall. I guess the picture on the coin, couldn't see this up close, but it like a V, so it's like a break in the wall. And this is similar to what happened when Syria invaded. The big wall of defense was broken through, and then after that it was just game on. Compares that to September 11th, in which the United States' pride and joy and security was fractured forever, never to return to a normal state again, right? So that's the first harbinger of change, is the September 11th attacks, and it changed our world forever. Then it talked about the terrorist, as a picture here, comparing Osama bin Laden, I think, to Syrian king or the Babylonian king. Yeah, Syrian invasion, which was Iraq, by the way. So back then they had foreign invaders. For us, it was terrorists. Okay. Then there's the oracle, the person that would speak out against it, which was Isaiah. Or at least Isaiah would speak out against the response, I think, to Assyria's attack here. The fallen bricks could be nothing other than the debris left behind after the falling of the towers. Okay. And then the tower, I think he mentioned it was the Empire State Building, which was represented by this, not the fallen towers. I think that's kind of a good picture. If you look at this, it's almost like a photo. And that's kind of what I think the building would be lit like if it was magic hour lighting against the blue sky. It's pretty. That picture caught my eye. Okay. Yeah, the tower. So the tower was built up. We lost our 2 towers, right? However many towers fell that day. But they built one new one, and they just put the name freedom in front of everything, and it's cool, right? Because we're Americans, so they call it freedom anything, and then it's acceptable. So the attitude was, if you look in the, they're always quoting Isaiah 9. Okay, excuse me. Isaiah 9, generally 10 and 11. Okay, and so the idea was Assyria attacked and knocked down the wall, but Israel's resolve was, as it says in verse 9, it says, all the people will know, Ephraim and the inhabitant of Samaria, who will say in pride and arrogance of heart. He quotes, verse 10, the bricks have fallen down, but we will rebuild with hewn stones. The sycamores are cut down, but we will replace them with cedars. Therefore, the Lord shall set up adversaries in resin against him and spur his enemies on. Okay. So the idea was we got attacked because of our immorality. It was our failing thing. God was trying to warn us. Here's this. Our walls have been breached. So instead of having an attitude of repentance and we would rise up in more of a resolve, and we call it resolve, but he says, the Bible here says it's arrogance and pride. So of heart. So they're saying we're going to rebuild. It's kind of the resolve of all the everybody in charge. You got some pretty decent likenesses here. It's George W. right here. W. That's totally Hillary right there. That's Giuliani, the mayor. I don't know, the governor of New York here, the state senator, the guy who got elected in after Giuliani. So that's the idea. Instead of returning to God, forsaking foreign idols, America took the stance of we will be defiant, right? We're going to be defiant in the face of this attack. We're going to rebuild. It's not going to phase us one bit. And so in one sense, yeah, it's a good resolve to have. We're not going to be consumed by terror. Terrorists aren't going to get their way. But at the same time, if permitting it was to get you and I to, turn from our wicked ways, it didn't work that way. That's kind of the idea. So we built the tower up to symbolize our resolve that we're just not going to, back down from whatever was going on before. The hewn stone, I guess, it took a brick of stone off of a mountain that this guy visits, and then they moved that stone to become the capstone or the foundation stone for the new tower. That's from the prophecy. The hewn stone or the cut stone from the prophecy is that way. The sycamore tree. There was a sycamore tree at Ground Zero, I guess, that was uprooted and it fell down. So they were going to replace it with cedars, was I guess it's kind of a conifer tree. All these things became iconic locally. Maybe you haven't heard about it where you were at. Okay, the Erez tree would be the one that would replace it, and then utterance or the prophecy. It starts talking about. I forget exactly what part of the Bible it was quoting here. Okay, so I guess can't spoil everything. Huh? So then there was the platform. I think it was the platform, the prophecy, etc. This is So what happened was from the platform. one of the guys got up here and he quoted Isaiah 9 or Isaiah 10. The bricks have fallen, but we will build with dressed stones. Sycamores have been cut down, but we will put cedars back in their place. And so, like, America just bought into the whole same attitude, even going as far as quoting the actual part of the Bible that we were talking about here. So, I think that was the platform. That was the prophecy itself. It was sealed here. I'm if I can remember just by looking at the pictures here. There's a proclamation that went down. I think the idea of the prophecy was a written document was put into place. Yeah, you have to read that for yourself. But America's vow was similar to that. Back verbatim almost. All right, so it goes on, and he's I was talking about the whole effect of the Isaiah attitude, Isaiah 10 attitude that led to war, led to different things messing around, the whole Isaiah 9 attitude that just led to mushrooming effects of things happening, us turning farther and farther from God, the different trees. There's the mystery of the Shemitah. This is another turn the book takes here. It talks about the number 7. And so I've heard interesting, there's a law in the Bible where you're supposed to let the earth gets a Sabbath. So if you're like an agrarian culture that they had back then you had to farm, but on the 7th year you had to let the land rest, right? You had to just get by on something else for a year. That would replenish the soil, give the land a rest. But that's not the American way of doing things, right? So, take Sundays off for nothing. There's no 7th-day slumber for anybody anymore. So what happens was this brings a kind of a snapback curse where the land just takes back what you don't, when you don't give it rest, it takes back from you. So that was kind of the idea. What he does is he marches out by 7s from September 11th to show you different resolutions that were made in government. Different times the number 7 came into play. How much stock market wiped away that day? 7%. 700 billion. Was lost on the Jewish calendar. That was 70 days from September 11th. There's all kinds of 7s. It's very interesting. It's very into numerology and different things here. And all revolves around that Shemitah. I believe I'm pronouncing that right. But America just followed it unknowingly, right? Here we got this picture of Obama saying we will rebuild still. Yeah, he gets elected, it's like 4 years later, or 8 years later, he's still beating the drum of resolve. Okay. And then, so I guess Nuriel does a good job at selling this idea to Anne. I think they're going to go ahead with the book. And then we find out that Nuriel actually means the name of God or something like that. And the prophet is saying, you want to be my apprentice? You can be like my prophet guy, like Baruch. Baruch was, I think it was Ezekiel. Jeremiah. He was Jeremiah's under prophet. He did all the writing. He would speak things, and then Baruch would write them down. And eventually, Baruch, he became a prominent character himself or whatever. But he realizes, Nuriel, you got this gift. You're the writer. I'm the prophet. You can write this stuff down. You could be like the written voice for the things that I tell you. And he even like anoints him over here. Like, he goes to the park one day and like the dude pours oil on his head and stuff. That's kind of inconvenient, right? But it tells a lot of stories from 9/11 though. It's pretty complete book, but as you can tell, I mean, aside from some of the pictures of things like this, topics they're talking about, there's not biblical scenery. It's mostly just a couple people sitting around talking about stuff. So I think the author does a good, say the artist, and whoever scripted it out too is pretty good at keeping your interest. So it's not just two dudes talking, or a guy and a girl talking, whatever. He's got these background things that happen. Text overlaid. What was this one? When I was talking, I was noticing they had these kids building a house of cards, and the guys were talking about the housing market. I think easier mortgages and all this stuff. About that. 2008, the recession came pretty much 7 years exactly after 2001. So, but the housing market, the kids are building these cards, and then by the end of his little story, the cards fall. So kind of symbolic in the background. Kind of cool. You draw people's likenesses and faces. Pretty good at that too. Some of the big ones like Obama, I'd have a hard time drawing him, or George W. Bush or something like that. I probably would just trace that too. Pretty easy to get a stock photo of the Lincoln Memorial somewhere. You could just light box it in there and trace. Yeah. So anyways, that's Harbinger. Pretty good read. When I got this, I wanted to say that I had read the book, so I got it on the Kindle. In fact, I think I bought it back in 2017 at the fire station on like Prime Day or something. And there's one of these bunch of $2 books, and then you could. The Harbinger was one of them. It sounded like a ancient mystery that holds a secret to America's future. I'll read that someday. Never read it. All right. But I got this. I don't know if did you know that you could do this? But if you have like a Fire tablet device, you can hit Word Runner, and like instead of reading it like you would like this, I'm reading it, boring. Hit play, and then you just look at the middle of the screen. Should I get it where you can see the words just going across there. If you can compute that, you can whip through the book. I mean, I think it cuts each chapter down almost in half time-wise. If it would take you 8 minutes to read, it might take you 4 minutes to read it instead. I mean, it just kind of depends if you're looking for this kind of thing. You can go back. Oh, I missed something. I can go back and skip. Kind of cool. It helped me read it. I read it in a day and a half, though. So I got this book and zoomed through the chapters in record time. It's not that big of a book, but still helped me out a lot. So yeah, this video is not sponsored by Amazon. So that's the Harbinger. We had written by Jonathan Cahn. Stephen Gilpin was the penciler. Good job, Steve. Justin Barker was the inker. David Miles was the colorist. So they did, I'm pretty sure they all did this part together, so that was cool, but they didn't do as much dramatic coloring or artwork on the interiors. I feel like there wasn't even a color holder or anything until the very end here on this page here. So, but if you like the Harbinger or you want to read it, but you want to have some pictures in your head when you read it, then get this thing. This will help you. These faces look distorted, like there was like he took a picture with his phone of the TV screen with these people on it, put it down and just traced that. There's a lot of distortion on these faces in the front, and then it evens out. I was watching C-SPAN or something, or a speech, or I don't know. But here's Obama on this side, and who's this guy? President's vow. Who's he comparing Obama to here? I forget. Anyways, this is like a regular novel, or the book back cover. Okay. So just like anything else, there's Harbinger 2, whatever. This happens when you're in the Christian book space. Like you have a hit book, and then you got to follow it up with a part 2. And then you have to come out with a devotional or a 12-week Bible study. Then a desktop calendar. And then hopefully someone will get inspired for a hit song. And it's kind of just one big like marketing thing in that, that I've noticed over the years. Speaking of which, this is like a devotional. I realized I had this, but it's this is the original cover of the Harbinger. So he's taken the idea of the Harbinger and made it into a 364-day devotional, and it's in prose too, just like the book, with the little scriptures at the bottom. So there you go. Christian book industry. You got your book, your graphic novel adaptation, your devotional. I'm sure there's a wall calendar out there somewhere. And Chris Tomlin is going to write a book called, or a song called The Harbinger. You are holy, you are holy. Right. But I'm not cynical at all. So anyway, have a good day, and thanks for watching. Bye-bye.